now they can hear us. So we're getting ready. We'll go live in just a moment. Testing 1, 2, 3. Gonna be live.
Thanks for joining in, guys. We'll officially get started in a couple minutes, but for now, enjoy our current view at anchor in the low country of South Carolina.
You're actually looking at Monkey Island out our back. It's like, oh, what's that popping up on your screen? But that's just dirt on your screen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hopefully that's not a sea monster.
Yes. But watch out, we have seen dolphins. Okay. And 10 seconds. Start the video. There we go. Okay. Hey, there we are.
Hey, oh boy, I got weird light on my face.
Yeah, this is kind of weird light because we got sunset coming towards us. We're not going to block the view, so...
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the view while I'm talking, so you're going to have to put up with the sun on my face. It comes on. Anyway, hi, I'm Cherie.
And I'm Chris.
You got our names backwards again.
No.
Oh, it's right.
No, it's actually
I'm
right.
used to... Okay, cool. I'm Cherie, yeah, that's
and
me.
I'm Chris, yes, right there. And... yeah, we're coming to you live from our boat, Why Not, anchored on the low country of South Carolina. Enjoying a lazy Sunday. Our hair's still a little bit wet because we just went swimming off the back of the boat.
Anyway, we're Technomadia. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have been full-time nomads since 2006, both by RV and boat, and we are currently aboard our boat, but we also do have a vintage bus conversion that we split our year with, usually, and we also have a van conversion that we use as our daily driver for
Basically,
both of the vehicles.
We have a fleet.
We have a fleet.
Yes.
Anyway, we are currently in South Carolina, cruising up the East Coast. We are just left Beaufort,
Beaufort.
Beaufort.
Beaufort is the North Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina, and they're spelled the same. Very confusing.
Yes, it is.
Those Carolinans.
Yes. And then we're on our way to Charleston, which we'll be arriving to here in a few days. So
We like to take it slow.
yes, we are sloopers. We're slowly doing the Great Loop. But, you know, we post a lot of, you know, in our travelogue videos, the things that we go out and do, you know, in our Instagram and Facebook feeds. We've got photos of things we're out and do. And we get a question a lot of, well, how do we find these things, especially if we're only in town for a few days? And we thought that might be just kind of fun to talk about, is the ways in which we find stuff to do in a new town, because you don't always have a lot of time for research.
No, you don't have a lot of time, and it's a challenge because, you know, even at our slow looper pace, you know, we might be at a place for 2, 3, or 4 days, or 2, 3, or 4 weeks, and still that can go really, really fast, and you don't want to miss the cool stuff. Yeah, I guess I could take our names away. People know who we are now, right? There we are. Okay.
Okay, so so a lot of times, you know, when we're coming to a new town, we might have heard a couple of things about a town, maybe from fellow travelers, other cruisers or RVers that we've met up with who may have just come from a spot that we're heading to, or we've read reviews or other blog posts or seen videos. So that's a great way to learn about some of the things that you can do in a new town, is just talking with other travelers.
But in particular, there's a lot of stuff that kind of happens that's not just there all the time. It's like there are events, there's things happening, whether it's live music, live theater, strange local traditions, all these fun things that you're not going to hear about in advance, or you're not going to hear about in advance and know when it is. You gotta line up your schedules and know what's going to happen during that time you're here. So one of our cool tips, or how we find those cool things to stumble into them, is
go for a walk. So if one thing we love about boating as opposed to RVing sometimes is marinas are near downtowns, because ports are built around towns are built around ports. So we get into our new marina and we just go for a walk in the downtown and look at the windows. We're not just shopping, we're looking at signs, because a lot of small towns put out signs about what is going on, plays that are upcoming, festivals, special events,
things, bed races and festival this and drinking that, and all these sort of things will pop up, and it's kind of overwhelming, particularly if you find like the downtown bulletin board and there might be 30 things. So I'll just pull out my phone and take like pictures of everything, every little sign, because sometimes they'll have the URL on them, and then you can go back home and Google for more information. Look up, is this actually worthwhile? Is this really interesting? When is this? Where is this? What is this address?
And then we actually keep because we use Google Calendars a lot for our personal travels. So we have our upcoming projected stops that we keep there. And then we keep a calendar with possibilities, events that are on our radar, so that they don't fall off our radar. Because you get to a new town and you've got like 20 new events, and it's like, oh, you're gonna forget some of them. So we put them on our potentials calendar, so that when we're looking at things to do, like this weekend or the next time we want to take time off work, we know what the scheduled things are. That if you don't get there when they start, you're gonna miss them.
Right. So we try to do that walk and fill out the calendar as soon as we get to someplace, if not a little bit before, doing a little advanced homework. So that way we're not like stumbling into like, oh, the big festival, the street festival was yesterday.
Yep.
So we do spend a lot of days at work, not out doing touristy things every day, but if we at least have the calendar fleshed out, we know what days we want to plan to take off and play tourist and what days we don't.
Yeah, when the farmers market is. We love going to farmers markets and things like that. Some towns do a really good job with a community website where they keep a schedule of events of things coming up. And so we do Google and see if the town itself has some sort of events calendar, or if there's a group that is providing that service to a community.
And often, though, particularly smaller towns, their websites were put up in the 90s and maybe have not been updated since then. But most small towns do have some sort of like local weekly paper that is potentially updated a lot more frequently. So this is what we just grabbed. You find this, walk around town, again, you'll find usually free papers to grab. And read this as soon as you get into town, and you'll find interesting stuff mentioned.
Yeah, and sometimes marinas or RV parks, that local paper is there, or some of the bulletins are posted, especially if there's an active liveaboard community or an active community nearby where you're staying. Talking with the manager of your campground or the marina, usually they have an intel on what's going on. So,
and sometimes they don't. It's kind of funny when we start telling them about the cool events in their town. They're like, "Really? That's happening?" It's like, "Well, yeah, it was in the thing." And they're like, "Oh, I didn't check." Oh, okay, we did our homework.
Yes, and then if there is a thing that you like, maybe you like opera, you like the symphony, you like breweries and distilleries, you like to go out hash house harrier running, you like whatever the events are, dog walks or things like that. Usually there's a community that you can track, and you can find out events that are going on for that sort of stuff as well.
What's kind of I've discovered it's kind of interesting too is because I also, one other thing I do want to get to an area is I will fly around the area with Google Earth, Google Maps, and Yelp, and just kind of read the reviews, read around, see what events and what things get highlighted. And Google in particular, Google Maps will start knowing what things you click on. And so now when I go to an area in Google Maps, it's always popping up distilleries and breweries.
And why? Why? Because look at it.
Grab that.
One of our last anchorages was on Dafuski Island, just north of Savannah. We anchored off of there, and there's a distillery on the island. And you can see this was a couple weeks ago. We have been enjoying this blueberry lavender vodka mixed with lemonade. It's been a wonderful, refreshing drink. But this distillery is only accessible on this island, which is only accessible by boat. So it's not something that people are, a lot of folks are going to stumble on in their travels. So it's really unique to find that.
Yeah, and if we'd just gone ashore on Dafuski and just done the typical tourist things, we wouldn't have known. This is a fairly big island. We rented a golf cart and drove around, but we wouldn't have known what the signs that said rum and pointed this direction were meaning, and we followed the rum signs. We knew where to go, and we knew the hours. Actually, I wrote those down in our planning notes of distillery open 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure we're not there before or after those times.
So that's great for events.
Yes.
There's also, the stuff that you can go and see and do that's not necessarily time specific because it's always there. The tourist attraction, what makes this town sing, what historical things that you want to go and see, what are the interesting things to see. And of course, sites like TripAdvisor, Road Trippers, and things like that are great resources that other travelers use to crowdsource that sort of information.
I like actually Roadside America too, because you get the really offbeat weird attractions too, which are kind of fun, like the world's original Brunswick stew pot, things like that.
We sometimes play Pokemon, and now there's the new Harry Potter one is out too. Wizards Unite.
Wizards Unite. So those things, the games are kind of cheesy, but it's an excuse to walk around, and they have little dots on your screen, and usually where there's a cluster of dots, they're there for a reason. And
because they're historical sites, and you can
Yes.
learn about them. They actually have a
It's
guide
part-
to them
a
within
little
the
bit.
game.
Yes.
So we'll find out about stuff by playing games, and it gets us out exploring and going places and just kind of following dots on this map while we're playing and catching weird critters.
Yes.
We haven't
And-
actually played Pokemon in a few
Yeah, we're
months.
kind of in a Pokemon sabbatical, but we might get back into it.
But it has been a great way to
It
explore
has.
a town. Gets us out, and we will find those signs and things going on.
And then, the sometimes it's just good to be a cheesy tourist and just do the big cheesy, things that all the tourists do. So we actually did this in Savannah recently as we went downtown and followed the tourist signs and bought the
A
hop
tour
on,
package.
hop off tour package, and we actually said, upsell us. What are the cool things we can add on to this? And so like, oh hey, we could do a cruise on a riverboat river tour, and it's great because we got to tour the river where we weren't going to take Why Not, because we didn't go up the Savannah River. And it's like, a Prohibition Museum. That's something I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Right.
And let's
So,
go do
and that gave us a great reason to go back downtown because we couldn't do all those things in one day. And we sometimes will work too much, and we need to get off our butts and get out exploring more and play more because, what's the point of working and having this lifestyle if we're not getting out exploring? So we challenge ourselves everywhere we visit to try to do at least one touristy thing per week at least. So when we were in Savannah, I think we ended up there 9 nights. I think that's what we had ended up extending to. So that buying that tourist package with prepaid stuff, it said, oh, well, we already paid for it. We better go use it.
Yes.
So there were no excuses for not going back downtown.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
of course, we go down for the cruise. We
Then
go
do other
walking
stuff, right.
and go find other stuff to do.
And I see people are debating whether the sound level is good or sound level is low. We see that we're broadcasting a really good sound level. So, I can see that in the mixer. So, probably on whoever's end it is.
And then, one thing that we've really, really come to enjoy, and we've done this for a long time, is a great way to get in sync with the vibe of a town or in the history of the town, is we'll seek out movies that were filmed in that town and watch them while we're there. Seems corny and cheesy, but it has been a fun way to feel connected to a town.
Yeah, so we were just in Beaufort, and we were looked up. There's some famous movies that were filmed there. The first one we watched was Prince of Tides, which is the local author is a local legend. They've got his whole literary center there, and so we watched this classic movie, and it was filmed in the area, and then that led us to let's watch the next big movie in the town, which was The Big Chill, because we'd went out walking and we'd found some neighbors who pointed us, well, that's the Big Chill house down there, and it's the house, this classic pre-Civil War house.
And I think actually what impressed me more is the house, this local that we were talking
Yes.
with, and locals are so friendly and inviting. She's pointed to her house, and she says, if you look in this scene, you'll see my house in the background. And that was just really cool to talk to somebody who lives in that house, who is welcoming us to their neighborhood and pointing out things in the movie. So that was just a really nice connection to the area. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
And then just serendipity. Sometimes we get to a marina or a campground and they have a rack of tourist cards of things to go and see.
Oh.
And at every stop, I'm not going to want to go do the hot air balloon or the horseback ride or something, but we try to find something unique about that area. This last one when we're in Beaufort was...
The marina handed out a little... Well, actually, we love this. Some campgrounds do this, some marinas do this. They give you kind of a welcome bag that has interesting local stuff, and sometimes the cheesy tourist map, which is kind of fun. And in the one in Beaufort, they gave us a card for the Kazoo Museum and factory tour, where you can go and build your own kazoo and learn how kazoos are made and the history of kazoos. And we built this. And
Oh yeah, we built this. It involved... They
3
already
parts.
had it made, and we just had to insert the resonator and put the cap in.
Hey,
we built this
with a little machine. It went, and but it was kind of cool to go tour a kazoo museum and see classic kazoos. And I learned more about kazoos than I knew there was to know about kazoos. So that was something cheesy and local and fun, and yeah, just seek these things out. They don't take a lot of time. They're usually pretty cheap. This was like $7 for a tour and a kazoo.
And I do have to question this, because to buy that kazoo, single hand. They were selling for $2.39. We paid $7 and did the labor to build it. And we're talking about how fun that was.
And it was fun because we got to go behind the scenes and see the kazoo making machines and all that stuff. So hey, it's really, I don't know, just find interesting ways to go and push yourself out into the town.
Yep, and we like variety and exploring different things. We do have our things that we really do like. Wineries and distilleries we'll usually go and check out. We do like local craft beer. And dining. We love exploring local dining restaurants and staying away from the chains.
But we're also kind of always get sucked into the local sushi restaurants and the local Mexican restaurants and the local Thai restaurants because we're kind of creatures of favorites that way. So we're not always drawn to the local cuisine sometimes. We should do that more.
Well, I also, because I'm gluten-free and vegetarian, Southern cuisine doesn't always jive with that, so.
And then, local theater is something else that we really try to do, and it's kind of hit or miss sometimes how good it's going to be, but it is always kind of fun, and we love to support community theaters and go see plays when we're in town.
Yep. So that's kind of our rundown of the ways that we find interesting things. If you've got ways of finding things, put them in the comments. I'd love to know new things. And sometimes we'll just post to our social media. We'll post to Instagram or Facebook that, hey, we're in this town. Tell us what we shouldn't miss.
And, sometimes somebody will say, hey, I'd love to show you around my town. That's actually one of my favorites, is when we stumble into or meet a local and they just want to share their passion about their place. That is usually the most fun.
Yes. And when you guys reach out to us, and if we're coming your way and you want to show us something awesome about your town, don't hesitate. Please do invite us out. That is one of our favorite things to do, is to see your favorite things through your eyes.
Yes.
Because that's just something, that's an experience that just can't be replicated. All right. We're just here to hang out for a little bit, so we'll be happy to field questions in general, whether about this topic or...
I'm going to give them a little view of the live cameras. The sunset kicking in yet? The sunset's actually kind of switched to the side. These boats swing around. It's kind of odd.
Well, you can go move the camera.
I can. Here, I should take away the live soon from that. Here, let's go back to inside. We've got a wireless camera set up on the back porch, which, why not? It's geeky cool.
Okay.
Looks like we've got a good crowd here hanging out tonight. It's a happy Sunday. The heat has broken and the storms are gone, so we're surviving without air conditioning.
Trying to. It got up to 94 today. So.
That's why we jumped off the back of the boat.
Yes, we did go swimming. So Richard would like to know, what do we do with Kiki when we go out on the town? Yeah, that's the great thing about cats is...
They're easy.
They're kind of like couch pillows that breathe and eat and poop.
Oh.
And... she's fine. We, of course, make sure that everything is comfortable. If we're at a marina or we're plugged in at a campground, we're running the air conditioner or heater if it's not open window weather.
Yeah, she usually is completely chill, particularly if we bring her back a souvenir. Like, we were going to get her own kazoo, but cats apparently don't have lips, so that was a challenge.
She was not impressed with the kazoo. No, she's really good, and she's fine for several hours at a time. Now, we do have to be home by 4 o'clock because that is dinner time. That we feed her, give her wet food, and if we're late, we will hear about it. And she does know how to fire up the horn on the boat, and she has been known to
call for help.
Call for help.
I've actually had to learn how to turn off the horn at the circuit breaker panel because she knows where the button is. Cats.
Moving Forward Adventures, where the Goonies are filmed, and Ken is trying to convince Sabrina that need to watch. You absolutely must watch it because you have watched this video.
No, don't watch the Goonies. Because it's so much better in your memory than watching it again. I did make the mistake of rewatching the Goonies, and I was like, oh, because it's like such a classic childhood movie. But it is fun. You maybe watch it, but just with
here's a great, Ken and Sabrina also shared that they heard that using a hashtag of a town is a great way to see what is going on in the area through photos.
Oh yeah, and actually, a lot of towns have a chamber of commerce or a tourist bureau, and they just love it if somebody contacts them and says, "Hey, I'm coming to your town." It's might be a trouble if you get on their mailing list because they'll send you every little marketing brochure for the town.
But
So
I have found like once we found the hashtag for like Sanford, for historic Sanford, every time I tag them, we would interact with them and
Yeah.
they would give us ideas of what's coming up. So yeah, that's a great idea too, especially if you can find the right hashtags that the locals are using and what the Chamber of Commerce or
Yes.
the tourist bureau are using.
And the mixes on the sound, I think it might be just a Google thing, and hopefully the archive is all balanced out. Google is weird sometimes with YouTube.
This question, Jesse wants to know what we're going to eat for dinner. I haven't even thought about dinner yet.
Yeah, we
had
had
a
a
late
we had a
one.
very late lunch because we were cruising today. We had all of 16 miles, so it was a long cruising day for us. Cool.
Hey, our village is here.
Oh, hey Curtis.
Any update on the RVers? Someone wants to know, and I don't know if you saw the big news. We didn't do a YouTube announcement of it because we left that to our co-cast. But the RVers is coming out this fall, and it's not just going to be on PBS. It is now picked up for the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, the pilot was finished and has been shown around, and apparently Discovery really liked the pilot, and so a Saturday morning starting in late November it will be on Discovery Channel. It's kind of weird.
Candace, we want to know what is the farthest we have been anchored out?
Do
You think farthest from land?
Yeah, so when we anchored out in Lake George, we were over a mile from land one night we anchored in Lake George, which was kind of cool. Just to be open water in so many different directions, and was shallow and stuff like that, and very, very calm that day, so that's why we did it. But that's, I guess, the furthest from land.
Yeah, the problem with anchoring too far out is unless the weather is calm, if winds kicked up or things like that, you can get a lot of fetch, and that's just the wind hitting the water and the waves, and you can get it can get really bouncy if the weather's not the right thing if you're anchored out in the open.
Yeah, when things are windy, you want to seek shelter, and you want to have less open water and maybe hopefully trees between you and where the wind's coming from. But when it's calm, sometimes you actually want to seek out being out in the open because you'll get more breeze and less bugs. So boating is all about finding the balance and trying to find the right anchorage. And what's a good anchorage one night might be a completely bad anchorage the next.
Just depending upon where the protection is.
Yep.
Angela wants to know, did we look at any defeavers? Not in our
Lustily.
Not in our search. They were out of our price range. They were too expensive and too old, so we couldn't finance them because it's hard to finance anything over 20 years old. So the price range was out of our set. But we do have friends who have them, and they are less worth it.
Very, very sweet boats.
Yes. So if we had a different budget, maybe they would have been on our list.
Yeah, or maybe as a future boat or something.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
for our starter boat, they were off the chart.
Let's see. Ron says, I wanted to thank you for sharing. We would like to buy our boat in 3 years and getting all the info we can. The loop is in our sites. Awesome.
Yeah, we actually ran into people at the dock the other day who saw us and were like, we just bought that boat because of you. I was like, oh, all right.
Wow.
Hope you like it.
I always ask, do you like it? If not, you confused. You must have us confused for somebody else.
Yes.
Let's see. The Swims just banged out 43 miles today to their next marina. I think they are summering in Virginia and then heading down this way. So hopefully we'll be able to cross paths this fall.
Yeah, definitely poke us. We're like taking 5 days to get from Beaufort to Charleston, which is a trip most people do in a day. So we like to break it up, find these cool little out of the way anchorages, and yeah, we're having a good time with that.
Yes. Jesse wants to know any meetups with subscribers. We actually did put out on Instagram and Facebook the other day announcing that we're coming to Charleston and asked if anyone was in the area.
Yeah, because we'll be there for a few weeks.
But did not get anyone saying that they are in the area. But anytime we get people reach out, if we get more than 2 or 3 people reach out when we're coming to a location, we do try to schedule a meetup. So if you see us coming your way, do let us know, because that influences whether or not we
try to reach out to people.
Yep. It takes a little bit of a impulse for us.
And particularly if you have a lead on a good place to have a meetup, saying, hey, I know this really chill place. It's near where you're going to be, and blah 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 blah, and we'd be like, cool, let's do it. Let's put it out. Whether 3 people show up or 15, we'll have a great time.
And Kilobyte wanted to know what was the name of the show. It is called The RVers. Really, really hard to remember. Yeah, see, just like the hat.
Got the hats. Yep.
And that will be Tom and Kate of Morton's on the Move, and Peter and John of the RV Geeks are the co-hosts with us on that.
Yes.
John from Fort Myers, curious what company insures your boat, and can we talk for a minute about boat insurance? We actually met up with our boat broker. We use the MTOA's boat broker, and that's what we would recommend is contact
broker,
them,
right.
their insurance broker, and contact them to discuss your needs. We are not insurance people. We are not qualified to talk about
We will
the
probably, because we did interview him, and if that video came out good, that might be on the channel in the future about talking about boat insurance.
we did do an interview with them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of background noise, and I have not listened to the video yet to see how well it came out, but that is on my production schedule to get out, and he says if the video didn't come out, he would be happy to join us for a live cast like this and take questions. But I would go through the boating organizations that you're members of, the AGLCA, the MTOA, whatever other organizations. They usually have brokers that are sponsors and are partnered with them, and they're great resources for tapping into.
Definitely MTOA seems to have the insurance.
Don't take insurance advice from people like us on YouTube. That is not smart.
Yes.
Let's see. Digging the haircut, Chris. I just did his hair the other day.
It was getting real shaggy. So.
Yeah, because Sabina's not here to do your hair anymore, so I had to do it. Hotel Boz wants to know if we caught any fish. None have jumped on the boat that I know of.
Yeah, no, we haven't caught any. So many shrimp around though, like down in the downstairs, you could hear them in the water just nibbling. I'm assuming it's shrimp. It's just, we feel like we could throw a net over and just catch 1,000 of them.
Do we use our dinghy? Yes, when we are at anchor, so you can see it in the background there. You can see the engine kind of poking out on our dinghy caddy there on the swim platform. And yeah, when we're at anchor, we definitely do use it to get ashore, to go explore what's around here. In fact, we were contemplating, do we want to do this live cast tonight at sunset, or do we want to go explore? And we decided, you guys.
Yes.
It's been a while since we hung out with you guys.
Because apparently on the far side of Monkey Island here, there's a beach where you can see the monkeys come out to the beach at sunset. So that would have been a kind of cool dinghy trip.
Yes. Let's see.
And what we love about our dinghy, because we know a lot of people have their dinghies up top, and they're a real hassle to put them in and out of the water, and so people don't use their dinghies because it's so much work. Ours is so easy to launch and deploy that we don't hesitate to use it for just hey, it's really nice out, let's go float out with the dolphins and stuff.
Let's see. Do we guys share the driving of the boat? Yeah, I sometimes let Chris drive.
She loves to drive the boat. I'm still the designated docker most of the time.
But I'm getting better.
But yes, exactly.
I'm getting better. I'm getting more confident with it.
Mm-hmm. And and we both love driving the boat. So.
I did lines leaving the dock today, but
Cherie drove 95% of today's trip. So.
Yeah, I love driving the boat. And actually, I feel more secure driving the boat, especially if there's adverse conditions.
Yeah, that's the next question is, do you guys, has motion sickness been an issue?
For the cat, yes.
Yes. She's had some projectile vomiting issues. And for Cherie, as long as she's driving the boat, she's doing pretty good.
I am very prone to motion sickness in general, especially in cars. And I used to in boats sometimes. I used to do a lot of scuba diving. And I would always get seasick on that interval in between the first and second dive. And a lot of that was pressure. A lot of it is you're sitting there in the swells waiting for all the divers to come on board. And I always upchecked after the first dive and never got to do the second. So I was worried about it coming and getting a boat. But quite honestly, in 2.5 years, number one, we are mostly in protected waterways where we're just flat. But yeah, we go through sounds and we do some big swells. You get waked a lot today. Gosh. I don't know what it is about boaters who think throwing an 8-foot wake is cool, but oh well.
Yeah, or people who think that they're slowing down to do a slow pass, but they only slow halfway down. And a boat that's kind of going at half speed is just plowing water and is making a double-size wake. So they're going from, hey, I'll slow down for you, and they're making it twice as bad. But some people just don't understand how their own wakes work. But
no, so far motion sickness has not been an issue, but we also have not done anything offshore. Yeah. So
and we always plan our travels around calm days too.
Yes. So we're into Captain Chris, our training captain, is on here.
Oh, he is? Hey,
yeah.
cool.
Well,
Okay.
I bet it's Elise, not Captain Chris, but
They're one and the same.
but as they say, this is supposed to be pleasure cruising, so we do optimize for the pleasure and don't do things that we don't have to we learned that lesson very well from them.
And Tony was at Burdines where Why Not survived Irma. So yeah, it's a great place. If you're ever down to Marathon, go to Burdines, either the Marina or for food.
Oh, the food is
Burdines.
amazing. Oh, the menu that Randy put together there is just off the charts amazing.
Yes.
Our friend Randy there. Okay. Clayton wants to know, are we worried about still being so far south now that hurricane season has begun? Well, considering first hurricane season we had the boat, we were in Marathon, Florida, had a direct strike from Irma. And then last hurricane season, we rode out the peak of it in Jacksonville, Florida. This year, we're probably going to stay aboard the boat through hurricane season, but we are working our way north. And really, to get out of the hurricane zone, you pretty much have to get to Maine. And I think even Maine got a late storm last year, too.
So we are now, there's lots of places to head to. We've got a lot more options up on this part of the coast to go inland and or to head north or head south. So hopefully we won't have to flee from a storm. But yeah, it's something every single morning. I check the long range storm forecasts and
you stay alert.
Yes.
And you make the best decision that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to do again this year.
Yep.
We feel better about being on the boat and having options to move the boat out of the projected path, or making a decision to find a hurricane hole to put the boat in, so instead of just leaving it somewhere where we would have no option to move it out of the way without a lot of heroics.
Right.
So that I feel better about being on the boat than not, and our insurance covers us to be in the hurricane box, regardless. So. That's really what it comes down to, is you need to make decisions best for you. We're not going to put ourselves in danger to protect the boat, but we're not going to, that's what we did with Irma. And just because you're in the hurricane area is not a guarantee that you're going to get hit by a hurricane.
Well, and for quite a few people, even like their insurance, it just says get out of Florida. So we're already out of Florida. Other people have further north lines and stuff. So yeah.
Let's see.
Elise and Chris are both here. So hey, guys, awesome.
Awesome, Chris. I'm glad to see you using technology.
Elise is doing the typing for him.
Jay Whisper wants to know, are we planning to go to the Our Village event next February in Florida? It's definitely on our radar, but we, for our own sanity, especially because we are balancing boat and RV life and things out of our control, and we have a location independent lifestyle for a reason. We don't commit to events.
Yeah, we have really set a line there, is particularly because you never know what's going to happen with a boat, and so yeah, we don't want to be too tied to a schedule.
But it's definitely on our radar. Peter and John and Tom and Kate of the RVers are going to be headlining there, keynoting there, whatever you're going to call it. And we asked our village and the RVers to not include us in the lineup on there, but to leave it worded in such a way that if we showed up, we would be still part of it. So that's the way we like it, is have no pressure, and we don't like people making a decision to go to an event because we're going to be there. We'd rather be a pleasant surprise.
So Craig asked, what kind of license do you need to drive a boat like ours?
I think you need a driver's license for a car. Maybe.
No.
Probably not even. No, you don't need. I do have my Florida safe boater card. I went through that. You can go through and get a captain's license, but you need like a ridiculously high number of hours. Our friend Sean and Louise, who have been full-time cruisers now for 5 or 6 years, I think it was just last year that he met the minimum requirements to even consider getting a captain's license, because of the number of hours that you have to have documented to go through the process.
Yeah,
so
that's if you really want to do something commercially, and there are different tiers of captain's licenses, starting down if you just want to drive a little tour boat shuttle type thing, all the way up to driving something big and all that. But that's if you really want to make it a career and get paid for it. And for pleasure boating, it's actually kind of surprisingly unregulated.
Let's see. Boating maintenance versus RV. That's actually probably going to be an upcoming topic that we'll do on here. Is we'll share about we have one major boating maintenance project. We need to have our after coolers serviced,
and several others actually too. But
yeah, we have some. I want to get through one more round of major maintenance before we make any statements on maintenance.
But boats are bigger and more complicated and have 2 engines and stuff. So there's just a lot more.
They're always moving.
There's a lot more to deal with and maintain. Yeah, you're sitting in salt water. You're never still. So boats are more complicated. It's just part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Go in eyes wide open with a budget for that or skills and resources for it. Mm-hmm. It is no joke when people say a boat is a hole in which you throw money into. It is, boat stands for break out another 1,000. I disagree with that. It's break out another 10,000.
Well, sometimes. So, yeah, but you can also, if you're handy, you can do a lot of things yourself. Boats are designed to be maintained, and it's, go learn the basics and strike the right balance. And there's a lot of people who are boating on the extreme cheap. You just need to have skill and time to dedicate to it as well.
George says they're at a sailboat association meeting the other night, and the couple we follow sail away on a hunter at our marina.
Mentioned they met you. Okay, so
I don't remember.
Sail away, Eric and Lauren.
Which marina? We've been to a lot of marinas.
But yeah, but cool. Yeah, we're meeting really cool people in the boating community, and there's a lot of them. And everybody, and particularly in boats, everybody has little boat cards they trade with their email addresses and boat names and stuff on it. And we're getting a stack of them and trying to figure out what to do with them.
Yes, I know. We need to somehow get them all recorded in. Let's see.
UB4398 wants to know if we're coming to Canada, and eventually, for sure, that's a key. That's one of the parts of the Great Loop I'm most looking forward to.
We'll probably spend a couple of
seasons in Canada.
The seasons will get very short for us once we get further north. So, and that will be where RVing becomes a much bigger part of our life again.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great boating in Canada. I'm very excited to get up there. Are we planning on going back to the bus this fall? And yes.
Yeah, the general plan, I think, is what we intended last year, but didn't do. And just remember, no plans.
Yes.
Is that we'll probably finish out hurricane season on the boat this year, find somewhere to store it for winter, and get back to the RV. The Zephyr needs a lot of maintenance. She needs all new tires. She needs full engine maintenance. The muffler had some injuries, and our battery system, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's got the charger got disconnected. There was a power outage at our storage, and the batteries are drained, and we'll have to see if I can bring them back. And yeah, so Zephyr is going to need some TLC to be brought back out of the box she's been stored in.
But thankfully, we have the Travado now, so we and my brother lives in Austin where it's stored, so we have options for staying nearby and taking care of those things before we get her back on the road.
Yep.
Let's see.
Next destination is Charleston. Yes.
Our next destination, we're heading to Charleston. We'll be there at least 2 weeks, possibly a month. We haven't decided. We'll see when we get there how it feels.
Yeah, but I'm excited to be there for over 4th of July because they're going to have a really great show.
Yes, we scored a sweet marina for 4th of July. Let's see.
And yes, Cherie just colored her hair too, so yes, it is looking styling.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite meal on the boat? Whatever someone else has cooked.
Yeah. Yesterday we hit the farmer's market and
we have a lot of fresh produce on board, so we'll be doing something fresh probably tonight.
Made a fresh tomatillo sauce last night, and we did tomatillo nachos with sweet potatoes and stuff. We improvised. It was kind of fun with all stuff that was fresh from the market.
And Cheryl is on.
Oh,
Hi,
hey, Cheryl. And I saw somebody ask what our favorite port was, and I have to say Sanford. And Cheryl is the dock master there, so Sanford is a great spot.
So we got to know Cheryl when we were staying at in Sanford over the winter, and just an amazing community there. We got to meet Sabina and Eckert, who did our hair there, so we're having to learn to redo our hair on our own again, without our personal stylist anymore.
Yes. But yeah, Sanford is one of our favorite spots that we've stopped. Definitely worth the trip up the river.
Even with the midges, I don't think I could have put up with the midges much longer. But
yeah, it's I'm glad we got away from Sanford, but I really loved the time we spent there.
All right, I think we have caught up on all of the questions.
Let me give somebody an outside view again.
We're going to turn the video back on. Give you last chance for questions.
Oh, look at that. It's nice and glassy. I love it when it's like this. It doesn't actually, it looks like the sun's behind clouds tonight, so we're not getting spectacular colors at the moment. But, oh, yeah, I love that.
Okay, so this was at Brunswick, Marina, where Sally was there. Eric was the voiceover artist.
Oh, got it. Perfect.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
they were cool. Yes. Yes, they were met a lot of people in those happy hours at Brunswick Landing. They do happy hours, right? That is
Free beer and wine.
Free beer and wine, and the whole community comes together and has a party 3 times a week. It's almost overwhelming.
Cool. CP would like to know, how far north will we travel? Well, eventually we will be getting up here to the Great Lakes in Canada. This season, we don't know yet.
I can't imagine getting much further than the other Beaufort this season, but we'll see. We just play one stop at a time, so we know Charleston's next.
Cool. Sabina Ecker said they're coming our way, but leaving a tad early for an Alpenhorn special. Awesome. Well, let us know if we can meet up anywhere along the way, Sabina and Ecker. We love you guys. We'd love to see you.
And yes, we'll definitly love to rendezvous.
The Tea Trader like, now, how do we afford our lifestyle? We work our butts off.
Yes, yes, and also we talk about we stay places for a month at a time. Monthly stays in marinas can be very, very affordable. We eat in a lot, and so actually life is not all that much more expensive the way we're living it. It was just our home changes where it's at all the time.
Right. By doing anchoring out and monthly marina stays and not moving more than this month, we may move 200 or 300 miles at max. Yeah. So you combine fuel costs plus marina costs, we're maybe spending on a extravagant month $1,000 to $1,200 a month on rent. And then everything else is just your normal lifestyle stuff. I mean, you're going to eat regardless if you're living stationary. It's actually cheaper for us than...
Yeah, it would be an expensive lifestyle if we were also paying for a house that was sitting empty somewhere else while we're out here doing this, but we don't have a house sitting empty somewhere else, and we don't really want one.
Next month, I think we are going to do, our live cast topic will be on how we are kind of talking more about our... career on the road, our income sources and how that's changed over the years. So we'll cover that more.
That's going to be probably one of our near-term future topics.
Yep. How long do you think we're going to take to do the
ICW, I guess? Or?
I guess so. It'll take as long as it takes.
Yeah.
We have quit making projections on how long anything's going to take, because as soon as we state something, it changes.
And we love to steer by serendipity. So when we get someplace and we're like, this is a really cool place, let's stay a month. Okay, I don't want to have to be worried about how that's impacting my schedule down the road. I want to be just thinking about the next stop and the next stop and the next stop.
We don't really plan more than one or two stops in advance. We don't like having plans more than a couple weeks out. And we have found that any time we put something on the schedule further out than that,
it gets stressful.
And we're avoiding stress these days. The last year has been really low stress because we have held those boundaries of not making commitments and being open to changing things at our whims, and that has been freeing for us. Yes. So we're sticking with it. It's working for us.
Yep. And speaking of plans, they're asking if we're going to be in Benson, Arizona. That is going to eventually be the long-term home for Zephyr, but we're not sure how quickly we'll get there. But hopefully we'll be able to get Zephyr there this year. But we'll see.
So we have several possible paths ahead of us for the year ahead, and we have long-term projections and intentions, and one of them is getting the bus out to Benson this winter. So, but don't count on anything from us
other than pretty views out the back porch.
How often do we eat out? It depends upon if we're at Anchor. We're not eating out tonight. There's nowhere to eat out at. But if we're in a town with lots of great options, local options nearby, we'll eat out more than not. If we're someplace where there's not a lot of dining options, we cook in. It varies quite a bit.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of fun to find restaurants that you can dinghy to as well. So actually, it's closed tonight, but just 2.5 miles that way is apparently one amazing restaurant that a friend recommended to us at a marina. And if we stay another night here, we might go to it.
Ask Captain Chris says, hugs and happiness, and thanks for sharing this wonderful life with the rest of us. And thanks to Chris and Elise for helping make this lifestyle accessible for so many people. If you haven't found these guys, they host classes in their house teaching you about the cruising lifestyle and boat maintenance, and they are great classes. These are such friendly, helpful people. They were full-time cruisers themselves for many years, and then now they help other cruisers get up to speed to do what we're doing.
And check out the Ask Captain Chris, a YouTube channel, for some of the most deadpan descriptions of people docking that are just like riveting. You'll like watch a 30-minute video of somebody trying to back a boat in and out, and you'll be on the edge of your seat listening to his narration. He's like a play-by-play baseball announcer.
And we don't say that, we have no associate other than they've become good friends of ours since we attended their classes. But we don't love these guys, and we love what they're doing for the community. So definitely, if you are thinking about boating and you don't have a lot of boating experience, these are your guys to go to. They're in Vero Beach, Florida. So, and they have a great YouTube channel, and they do this from the heart. I've never met people who are so from the heart.
And more questions on fishing. We've actually done a YouTube video. We don't fish. We eat other people's fish. We like to be on the water without having to worry about poles.
Oh, I guess we missed a question about moving the van between marinas and stops. And
it's another recent video we did too.
Yes, we just did a video. I'm moving our Mini Cooper up, but the same thing's going to apply. Is we figure it out. It is currently in storage with friends in Georgia who have a spot to keep it. And once we get to our next prolonged stop, we will find a way back to their place to get it.
Or take Amtrak back, or rent a car, or he'll come pick us up.
He happens to have a private plane and may come pick us up. So, but... So yeah, we figured out to move it, hopscotch it with us. We find places to store it. Some marinas let you keep your car there. They understand the cruising lifestyle, so as long as it's not there like forever, they'll let us keep the car there for a while as we're making transition plans. So that's great.
Okay, well, I think this is probably a good time to wrap this up, I guess. Or we have a few more questions.
Clayton says, how many of those videos are of you? We actually aren't in many of Captain Chris's videos.
No, I don't think so. Hopefully, yeah.
No, he came out and filmed our generator replacement.
That was a fun video.
So if you ever want a play-by-play, like watching a baseball game style commentary of a generator coming out,
lifted out of a boat,
go find it. It's on our channel. They gave us the footage to put on our channel.
And
so
it's an awesome video.
Go find it.
It's riveting. Go back and find it.
All right, guys, we are going to call it an evening. Go find out what we want for dinner. Go watch this amazing sunset. I think that we already missed.
That was because we're going to switch you to the outside camera, and maybe I'll swing the view out to the other side, and then I'll end the live stream in just a minute. So
well, thanks for joining us. Always fun to hang out, and be on the lookout. We'll try to do a live once a month sometime, and we'll see you next month.
Take care, guys. We got clouds facing that way. That's blocking our sunset colors. Maybe we'll end up with a storm. And the paddleboard out. No sunset tonight, but still gorgeous out on the water. No one around for miles. Okay. Shall we wave goodbye?
Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next time.